The top 7 Bob Joyce / Elvis links. I speak of possibilities. Many people who comment in my videos or email me point to a moment where they felt certain that Pastor Bob Joyce is Elvis. I'm Jack Willard, and here is one of those moments. And here is another, much more recent memory, a snippet.
Shall I say what it be I see? I can't help falling in love with you.
Now, here are 7 more links. 7 more possibilities that seem to point to Pastor Bob Joyce being Elvis Presley. Number 1, Pastor Bob sang "No One Stands Alone" a few days after the tragic passing of Lisa Marie Presley. Out of all the songs in the world, millions of songs, he chose to sing during a praise service that song, which isn't a praise song, and he sang it with all his might. We have a video on it right here at the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned if you haven't watched it, and it's entitled "Elvis Interrupts Pastor Bob Joyce During Praise Service." That's a paraphrase of the title. In it, he appears to whisper into the mic, "I love you, Yisa." That's what many of you feel he's saying. Lisa Marie once said that Elvis rarely called her Lisa Marie. The nickname he came up with was Yisa. But when he said Lisa Marie, that meant he was upset with her. That's possible link number 1. Number 2, more and more of you have come to believe the 2 Bob Joyce theory. Robert Wayne Joyce, who may be 71 years old, and a man who seems to have appeared out of nowhere in 2011, the pastor of Household of Faith, Bob Joyce. Yes, I'm aware Robert and Bob go together, that Bob is short for Robert. But we have been talking since 2018 about there being 2 Bob Joyces. And you have commented on that, and we have a video where we compare images of who we think is Robert Wayne Joyce and who is Pastor Bob Joyce. And I do, as I say, get lots of feedback. This is very recent feedback from someone who has been to the church a number of times. She says, "Our first time at the church in 2020, I was made a believer. I saw 2 Bob Joyces. I saw it with my own eyes. One was at the front door when we arrived. He left the front door as the other one was coming through the door onto the altar. They were both dressed in black. The man at the door disappeared before Pastor Bob came out. He looked like his younger brother. He was thinner. In my first visit, one of the inner circle came up to me and welcomed me to the church. She whispered in my ear, "Listen for the hints." It's him. I also met the famous photographer, Gene Ho, who is a wonderful man. That's a recent comment in an email to me. The 2 Bob Joyce theory, and we have a video that talks about Priscilla that we did recently, and you can check that out right here. We show multiple images of Robert Wayne Joyce and, of course, a few of the man we see every week preaching at Household of Faith, Bob Joyce. And if you can't tell the difference, if you can't tell that those are 2 different men, you might be a Elvis protector, whether it be a delegated one or self-appointed, or you may not be the brightest person on the planet. That would be my take on it. Here we have, in picture form, we have a young Robert Wayne Joyce with Wilina Hattie, who became Wilina Joyce. He married her in picture form. And we have the current pastor of Household of Faith with Wilina. This is a number of years ago. And it is not possible in my book that the man with the dark hair transformed in his later years to looking like Elvis Presley to that degree, and that is the same man, just older. I've showed this before. The wedding of Sabrina, Robert Wayne Joyce's daughter, looking in the eyes. It does not look to be, to me, and I speak of possibilities, I could be wrong. It does not look to me to be the current pastor of Household of Faith. And more images in the video where we talk about the possibility of Bob Joyce and Priscilla reuniting. Look for that video and you'll see many more images. The other incredible link about Wilina and Elvis is that Wilina appears to be the girlfriend for a time of Elvis Presley when he was stationed in Germany. Perhaps her father was stationed in Germany at the same time, and she met and became the girlfriend of Elvis Presley. We believe, and we are not positive, that that is Wilina, who is married to Robert Wayne Joyce. And it wasn't just like that was one shot. There are dozens. There are dozens of them together. Down there we see another picture of Pastor Bob Joyce and an older Wilina. And here we see, I don't know if this could be Wilina's mom, I don't know. Another picture of a young Wilina, we think it's Wilina, with Elvis Presley, and we believe that's in Germany. There are so many coincidences and so many links, but we're just giving you 7, and if you add the video clips, 9 in this short video, speaking about the links, the possible links of Bob Joyce to Elvis Presley. Another thing that was startling and got some press. It got me into the Daily Star in London. They called me a conspiracy theorist. They put up a piece of the video that was up at the time, speaking about the fact that it appeared that Pastor Bob Joyce and Matt Joyce attended the funeral of George Klein, the famous Memphis disc jockey, who Elvis said was his best friend. George Klein was his best friend. George lived a long life and would go on to play Elvis music eventually on the Sirius XM Elvis channel. But he was on the regular big AM station doing the same thing for many years. And Elvis Presley bought him a Cadillac. The possible attendance of Bob Joyce at Memphis DJ George Klein's funeral in Memphis was possibly another big giveaway. Priscilla Presley was sitting in the row behind who we think is Bob and Matt. And I and others noticed this. She is called up to speak at the service attended by hundreds by the rabbi. When she returns to her seat, she touches the shoulder, and remember, there's hundreds of people in this auditorium. She touches the shoulder of the man we think is Bob Joyce. I have to go to my phone for this one, and we have that here. Hold it straight on. I know people would rather me not use the phone. There's glare involved here. There's Priscilla touching the shoulder of the man we feel is Elvis Presley. What are the odds of that? Number 4, Bob Joyce released a while back a beautiful gospel classic from the late 1890s called He Hideth My Soul. You can see it in our Bob Joyce Elvis evidence in Rapid Fire. I play a good portion of the song, and I play a portion of Elvis singing, I believe, in the garden. So you can see that for yourself and hear it for yourself. The only issue is when we listen to the song, we're not hearing an older singer. We're not hearing Bob Joyce per se. We're hearing what is obviously a young Elvis Presley, someone in their 20s perhaps. And you can't do that. You just can't do that. One of the funny parts of the story for me is that the man who owns 85% of the Elvis Presley name, I don't think there's been any changes in this, is my ex-radio boss, Bob Sillerman. I wonder, Bob, if you ever watch Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. But he owns 85% of the Elvis name. He was a fun boss to work for, and is a billionaire who owns American Idol, or a good portion of that. I'm not sure if he still does. I'm not sure if that's current information. But that was an interesting link, since we're talking about links, for me. You cannot put your name on somebody else's song and say you're the one singing it. You'd have to have a special permission, a very special permission to do that. Number 5, famous people have visited Household of Faith, and at least one famous person attends Household of Faith. That would be Gene Ho, President Trump's campaign photographer, now the owner of George Magazine. He brought the JFK Jr. magazine back, and he has photographed some of the most famous people in the world, and has a circle of friends that includes people like Michael Lindell. He attends Household of Faith on a weekly basis when he is in town. Many fans come to Household of Faith, many of them bearing gifts. So much so now that the church is too small and they only have one service, so they have an overflow room. Get there early, but obviously the regular church members need to be let in. So it's getting to be a hot ticket, and they need maybe a second service in Benton, Arkansas. A Lisa Marie related post. I have a dry mouth, or I would not stop to swig water in a video such as this. But the mouth is dry, medications make it dry, you know. Welcome to life in the 60s. There are those that are very angry that anybody talks about this topic, the Bob Joyce / Elvis topic, and they are often found on Bob Joyce Elvis Facebook groups and other places, and they never seem to stop. They are just annoyed, and they vehemently proclaim that Pastor Bob Joyce is not Elvis. I have encountered some of them, and I'm not even in any of the Bob Joyce Elvis groups, which have more rules than the U.S. Marine Corps often. It's just not for me. But after the passing of Lisa Marie, various viewers of mine began to email me a posting that was made shortly after Lisa tragically left us. And it was from, they told me, it was from the Facebook page of the individual that often argues with those who talk about Bob being Elvis. And so they sent me the posting. I am not friends on Facebook with this person, but the person is a member of Household of Faith. A member of Household of Faith. And shortly after Lisa's passing, the very person who argues with so many people was said, according to them, and I got this from various sources, various viewers, they posted this on their Facebook page. So sorry to hear that Lisa Marie passed. You all know that I'm there for you if needed. Love y'all. That's it. That's it right there. And the source that it came from, wow, was not the intention. That would have been for a private message, not a public posting. That's not my fault. I didn't post that. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. And then there is the Lisa Marie private funeral, which was on a Saturday, the week after the public memorial, which was on a Sunday. Pastor Bob Joyce preached in Benton opposite the public memorial. He was not there. The tall guy, whether you want to show him getting off the plane or whether you want to show him helping Lisa Marie up the stairs, is not Pastor Bob Joyce. He was in Benton. He was in Benton, directly opposite the public memorial. And that's where we believe his way of honoring Lisa on that day was to sing "No One Stands Alone." I'm starting to get people sending me now the private memorial card. For this event, TMZ talked about it. They thought that Lisa Marie had already been buried. Then they found out no, she had not, and that the public memorial service was coming up. I don't think they gave the correct date. They gave it as a Sunday, and it happened on a Saturday. It had to happen on a Saturday, not a Sunday. And so they said that only the close friends and family would be invited to the private funeral. You could not bring any kind of a recording device in, and you had to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. You could not talk about what you saw at this funeral. That is the reporting of TMZ. Now, any other story like this, they would have had cameras at the gate of, say, in this case, Graceland. They would have had cameras, but they didn't say anything. There was no follow-up that I could find. If I'm wrong, show it to me, but I could not find a follow-up story. Just like when people in the inner circle, like Priscilla, are interviewed, no one ever brings up someone like Pastor Bob Joyce. Just is apparently a forbidden topic. Even if it was to say, isn't it something though, that guy in, you must have heard about this, that guy in Benton, Arkansas that looks like him and sounds like him? What do you think about him? I think that is predetermined that you will not ask me about that. And on our live show that's going to air this weekend, now I realize that you could be seeing this at a much later time, but look for the live show that is for the 18th of November in the live section of our channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned. You will be able to see us talk about the Priscilla Piers Morgan interview. It's called Worldwide Ramblings. We're on at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Translate that to your time. We're often on Saturday nights at that time live, and you can comment during the live stream, what have you. And as soon as we finish the broadcast, it's available in the replay right there in the live section of our channel. So you'll be able to see that, and we'll comment more on what I just talked about. But people are now sending me the actual thing that was sent to me months ago, which outlines the order of service for the private funeral. But it's only been a couple of people that have sent it to me, Just not ready. Now, others may be posting this. But I said to someone in the inner circle that I wouldn't post it. That point, though, becomes mute when everybody posts it, of course. But I don't know that to be true. If people can show me that, I may do it very soon. But I'm going to keep my word and not post it. But as you know, in the verdict too, when I posed the question, who preached Lisa Marie's private funeral, who gave the eulogy, etc., who officiated, I have reason to believe that it is Pastor Bob Joyce. Talking about the public memorial. My personal email is jackthefairguy@gmail.com. Jack the F-A-I-R fairguy@gmail.com. You may have noticed if you watch this channel that I am making an attempt to do other topics and what have you. We talk about a plethora of things in our live shows, Worldwide Ramblings, often on Saturday nights. And sometimes we do a pop on to pop off, which can happen at any time. If you have your notification button on, you'll get word that we're on live, and we'd love for you to join us. Okay, please subscribe, please like. This channel is bigger than it's ever been before. I love Pastor Bob Joyce with all my heart, and from the very first video, I said to camera, I said, if Pastor Bob himself should not like my work or have a problem with it, all he has to do is let me know in a video message so I know who I'm talking to, and I would put an end to the topic. I would do that. So that offer still stands. If it's a very hot video, I could wait a few days, but I would do it. Take them all down. You know, we've been doing this a long time, and we do it with love, and it's the Elvis/Bob Joyce programmers that have brought many people from around the YouTube world to hear him preach the gospel, which he does so beautifully. For those who say, why don't you just leave him alone? I try to do as little of this as possible. It's what my audience wants. But as I have said many times, if you begin a worldwide ministry on YouTube in 2011, you know exactly the reaction you're going to get, and you choose to become a public person at that time. You roll the dice, in effect. And so here we are, many years later, and everything is still going strong, and it is fascinating. It is, the whole thing is fascinating. I just don't believe there is any way possible that that man preaching in Benton, Arkansas has no link to the Presley family. If it's not Elvis, it's his love child son, born in perhaps 1953. I have a video on that too. We cover all bases. We cover all bases, including the video that maybe Bob Joyce is not Elvis. We have that video too. So thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll talk to you real soon.